Hello, everyone, and welcome to round 3 of the Misfits Racing League. It is season 2, the French Grand Prix. Today, I am joined by Mikal in the commentary booth for today's race. Welcome, Mikal.
Oh, it's great to be here.
So, we're just going over the season 2 French Grand Prix circuit. As you can see, there's 2 main DRS zones, one on the pit straight and one on the first straight of Sector 2. But enough of that. We'll go into the hot lap. This week, Samus is the one going to be doing the hot lap. So we'll head on over to that. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another circuit guide here for Misfits Racing League. It is round 3, the French Grand Prix. Samus is going to be taking us around on a lap, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to tune into the race this Thursday. Information can be found in the description below. Thanks for watching, guys.
Hello, welcome to France with Samus. First corner, 70 meters, clip curb on the left, power out, upshift. Try not to go off the track, that's a warning area. Hug on the inside, 50 meters brake, hard right, downshift, rotate the car and power out. Again, right turn, hard on the brakes. Powering out, easily giving it throttle, but then getting into fifth, using all the track. DRS open. Next corner, you're looking to brake around 100 meters, maybe a little bit later, as late as you like. Throw it into the left, downshift, rotate the car and power out. Easy on the throttle, and the upshift can keep you on the track. Don't want to clip that curve either, you lose time. Coming through here, you want to use all the track. Braking around the corner entry, slowly downshifting to slow the car, and then power out hard, 4/5. Hard on the brakes, but slowly downshifting so you don't lose the rear, and hard out the corner. Hugging the outside, ready for the brake right around the red board. Last corner, downshift at the apex, and then on the throttle as soon as possible. Hey, there's your Paul Ricard on board with Samus.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Samus, for taking care of this week's circuit guide. Quick look at the calendar for this season so far. So we've already had 2 rounds. Abu Dhabi and Canada are done and dusted. So today is, of course, France. Next week, we will see our drivers in Austria, followed by Spain, Russia, Brazil, Germany, Britain, and Italy. Now, this week, we have some new announcements. So moving forward, after this week, we are actually going to have a 17 race championship. That means we are adding 7 more races to this season's calendar, which is super awesome. That means more fun racing to come ahead. A couple other things to talk about. Team changes. So, Mikal has stepped down from Haas and has joined me in the commentary booth. Once again, thank you for that, Mikal. Rackety joined Zamajo over at Ferrari, and we have there is another driver here. I'm having a blink right now. At Vettel, going to be replacing Mikal over at Haas with Skybits. So those are the 2 driver changes to be aware of for this week. And then we'll jump into the driver standings now. So another update that we decided to go with this week for the Misfits Racing League. Before, drivers used to be able to score drivers' championship points. We have decided to change that. They were not able to score constructors' points earlier, so we've actually flipped that. So drivers now who are reserves and not full-time drivers are unable to score drivers' championship points. However, the team they drive for in the race that they reserve in will, of course, be able to get points. So we see the standings now. We have Yoda At the top in first, Zamajo second, Samus third, tied with BTFU. And then we have Ricky Ciardo in fifth, Falcon in sixth, Henry and Sneaky 7-8 tied there. Skybits ninth, Custom 10th, Neon Rays and Wadis tied for 11th at the moment. And then 12 through 20 have not had an opportunity to score points just yet.
Hopefully, we'll see that change this evening.
Yeah, for sure. Moving on to the Constructors Championship. A couple of adjustments. Fortunately, all of the constructors do now have points as a result of that change. McLaren currently in the lead with 36 points. Ferrari has jumped into second after a couple of decent finishes from Zamajo. Red Bull, fourth with 24 points. Haas is fifth with 20 points. Toro Rosso in sixth, 18. Alfa Romeo is seventh with 17 points. Renault, 12 points in eighth. Williams, ninth with 11 points. And then Mercedes, who would have thought it, currently sat at the back in 10th with only 4 points so far. Anyway, that wraps up bringing everybody up to date. I do believe the lobby is getting ready to go here in just a second, so we'll flip on over to that in just a moment. And then we can get to talking about some French Grand Prix action.
It's also important to note that so far this season we have not had a weather-affected session yet, I do believe.
I do believe you're right.
Hopefully we'll hopefully for us, maybe not so for the drivers, that we'll see the gods pour down on the Paul Ricard circuit this evening.
Yeah. Looks like we have 18 drivers in the lobby. Spawny Star and Pikachu are going to be reserves. Another thing that we've implemented for the remainder of the season is that reserve drivers do not pick a specific car. So that the car choice for the reserve drivers is randomized, and it's a matter of luck.
Yeah, so looking ahead into the race, or even qualifying for that matter, who would you say is your dark horse? Who are the drivers to keep an eye on for the viewers this session?
Well, like mentioned in the driving teams session, we do have a couple of new drivers that have taken up full-time positions on the grid. Vettel being one of them. He's taken your seat in the Haas. And of course, we have Rackety going to be joining us over at Ferrari as well. So I think that those two are definitely going to be a couple of forces to be reckoned with. Take a good look at them throughout the race, see how they perform in their first race this season. As far as drivers that are already on the grid, I think we can expect great things from Ricky Ciardo today. He's had a couple of solid performances over the last two races. He had a very, very nice points finish after coming back from the back half of the grid in Abu Dhabi. And I do believe he took up some points last weekend in Canada as well. Correct me if I'm wrong there.
I do believe so. It was quite a hectic race, Canada. I do say so myself.
Yeah, there was a lot going on in Canada, for sure.
But Paul Ricard is a very different beast. Tire wear and temperatures can skyrocket through the roof, especially through that double right-hand turn 11 in sector 3. So it'll be interesting to see how these drivers cope with that, either through their setups or their driving style. Also, the excessive amounts of runoff should mean that we, in theory, don't see as many DNFs. But then again, you never know what can happen. This is racing.
That's right. Wheel-to-wheel action. Always a surprise. As we are on the countdown to jump into qualification now.
So it looks like we'll have 19 drivers.
19 drivers for the French Grand Prix. It is Misfits Racing League Season 2, Round 3, as we jump into quali for Circuit Paul Ricard. 18-minute qualifying, 50% race distance. weather is dynamic. So hopefully we'll get a sense from one of the drivers in just a moment what we'll be looking forward to for the race.
Now, another driver to keep your eye on is Yoda. You know, he's shown very strong consistency with 2 second places at the opening 2 rounds. So my eye is definitely on him to get a good result here.
He has had some good races with Abu Dhabi, and it looks like very, very mild wet weather, but no rain right now in the pit lane.
It does look very overcast as the qualifying session is about to begin. And I've just been told that it will be a dry race. So
Sure, quite a few of the drivers currently in their cars in the pit lane.
Scratch that. It's going to be a transition for the race.
So we are going to have a
Told by one of the
weather-affected dynamic race.
Yeah, I'm being told by one of the drivers that it's going to start off in the dry, but it's going to start raining throughout the race. So,
Very
ladies
exciting.
and gentlemen, we are in for a thriller of a race.
I'm very excited now. I'm very excited to see a wet race here in France.
I do believe that is one of the Renaults. That is Falcon. First leave the pits.
We'll jump on board with him in a moment as we look to see who else leaves the pits. Zamajo on his way out as well. Neon Rays.
Yeah, Neon Race had a qualification ban after his incident with Little Bear, I believe it was, in Canada.
Yes,
So
of
he will be
course.
starting from back.
Very unfortunate penalty for him, I'm sure. But it is a long race, and there are always opportunities to make up positions.
Especially if the rain hits when no one expects it.
Yeah, definitely going to be tricky to see which drivers anticipate the rain at those opportune moments to get the best possible time.
Okay, so it looks like we have quite a mixture of strategies being employed here. A lot of people on the softs, but we see Samus coming out on the hard compound tires. So that's telling me that the rain might come sooner than everybody thinks. Considering that the main strategy for this circuit is a medium hard, since the softs only last about 4 good laps before they really start to die off.
So you anticipate Samus wants to one-stop it, hards to possibly inters or fulls, considering what the weather may be. That might be a very interesting strategy from him.
Falcon starts his first flying lap.
On board with him through turn 1 now.
Keeping it nice and tidy. Runs a little bit wide there at turn 2, and he has backed out of it. So
that's an invalidation.
Turn 1 and 2, very, very picky on track limits. Very easy to extend or cut the corner. So that is something that these drivers will have to watch out for.
I'm now on board with Vettel. He is next to set a time here. Unless it is the Renault of... No, so Vettel going to be the next driver to set a time here, getting a nice tow from Falcon ahead in that Renault.
Comes through the second sector chicane. Seem to get a pretty decent exit. Falcon moving over to the side as he comes through turn 10. Flat out, heading into sector 3. Looks very tidy so far. Coming through that double right I was just talking about into turn 12. Clips the apex, very clean, third gear. Full power towards the end of the circuit. See, I think this is going to be a pretty decent time.
First time set here in France. 130.8.
Henry just behind him with a 131.4, also on the soft compound. I believe the next to cross the line will be one of the Ferraris.
It's
The
Zamajo
Rackety.
in the pits. Rackety, I do believe, may be on an out lap at the moment.
Yeah, just about to start his final lap. Also on the hard, so
Go on board with him for his lap now as he moves down the pit straight.
with Custom right behind him. Little Bear coming across the line with a 131.6 puts himself in third, only 2/10 behind Henry. Samus on those hards puts in a 132.5. Undertaker, his teammate, goes up on a 131.5. That puts him in third at the moment.
I'd
Yoda with a
wager that
32.5.
Undertaker's got an axe to grind today. After two unfortunate finishes in Abu Dhabi and Canada, I'm sure he's going to want to get some points.
Most definitely. He has had some pretty abysmal luck for these past two races. Hopefully we can see him turn it around and help out as a good buddy Sam in the Constructors Championships.
9 drivers so far setting times here. Skybits. Excuse me, 10 drivers now as Falcon sets his first time of the session, a 130.7. He is now on provisional pole on the soft compound tire. Still on board with Rackety here. A little bit of a lockup in turn 14 as he comes down across the last turn. A little bit of a slip in the rear. He jumps into 11th, so not the time he wanted. He gets pushed back to 12th now.
Custom behind him.
Ricky
10th with a 32.8 on the mediums.
Pits, 132.8 from Custom in the Mercedes. He, I'd also wager, is looking to get some points today. Not having the season opener that he'd wanted to have.
Spawny Star, one of our reserves, just comes in third with a 131.2 on those medium compound tires. That's a pretty good lap from the
Now,
Renault driver.
one of the drivers who's yet to set a lap, of course, is the very, very, very fast Ferrari of Zamajo. Do you think he's worried here with those 130s at the moment?
I wouldn't say he's worried, but he definitely has his work cut out for him. I think we're about to see a really good race at the front end of the field. He starts his flying lap through turn 1, keeps it nice and clean. Does he run wide on turn 2? No, he keeps it valid. Heading into turn 3, taking all of the curbing.
Very, very lucky for him to be still going on this lap, I should say. I thought for sure that would have been an invalidation there, but fortunately, the stewards on circuit have a better look than I do.
And if the game says it's valid, it's valid.
Oh, and he is getting away with murder.
He's using all of the track available.
Very precise. He knows this track very, very well, it would seem.
He's got 2 purple sectors so far. Now it's just to see if those tires still have life in them through sector 3. Especially on those softs, that can be a real issue. But they seem to be holding up okay. Runs a little bit wide on the exit. Won't cost him a whole lot of time though. You see Henry off to the side. Keeping it nice and tight through the final corner. Opts to drop into the first gear. DRS open up to the line.
And he is the first driver into the 129s with a 129.5.
That is
Zamajo
a blistering time.
on provisional pole here with 9 minutes remaining in this qualification session. Of course, Zamajo, the driver to win last week in Canada. The blazing speed of the Ferrari working to his advantage.
I do
Vettel
believe that Henry.
is on
Henry's
another
also on his
flyer.
flying lap.
Okay, we'll jump on with
Oh,
Henry.
he's just dropped it down to 0. Never mind.
Okay, then so we're gonna jump back on over to the Haas driver. That is Vettel, as he has also invalidated, and it looks like he may have had a disconnect. Very unfortunate for Vettel. Check in with Fubar. Fubar in the pits at the moment. Pikachu pulling on over for, I think that's BTFU. BTFU now in the Toro Rosso. He is flying in that Scuderia Toro Rosso Red Bull.
I think it's Red Bull Toro Rosso.
Oh, well. Scuderia Alpha Tauri
Oh,
now.
there's a Williams just chilling in the runoff.
I do believe that is Henry into the pits. BTFU crossing the line up into 11th. His first flyer of the session, a 131.8.
Right behind his teammate.
So far, Toro Rosso looking to strike here from the middle of the grid, dead center. Sneaky. Looks like he's on a flyer. Currently sat in 13th in the Red Bull, 132.4 the time.
There's definitely more time in that. Just also keeping an eye on Falcon as he's just about to cross his Sector 2 split. He's a 10th up at the moment. And through turn 11, keeps it nice and tidy. Very tidy through turn 12 as well. Not using as much of the track as we saw Zamaja doing a little bit earlier. So it may be costing him some time. Has to correct a little bit out of the last corner. We'll see what time he can post. He improves by 0.2, 30.5 on those soft compound tires. Most of these drivers are now on like cooldowns. Do see Waiters, however, trying to improve on his time. Coming onto the long back straight, DRS open. Down that Sector 2 split, he's up by 2.5 tenths. Which right now will shoot him all the way up into, I believe, like 7th or something like that. As Undertaker goes up to 4th, the 131.0, still on board with Waiters. He comes through turn 14, keeping it nice and tidy. Small lockup. It didn't look like it cost him too much time. DRS open, all of the deployment. He goes up to 6th. The 131.2. Massive improvement from the Toro Rosso driver.
Very nice improvement from Waiters for sure, and Undertaker as well. Now up into 4th position. His teammate Samus going to be loving that. Samus now has some work to do if he wants to catch up to his teammate in the top 10. rackety here in the Ferrari. Currently on an invalidated lap, as he's going to have to look to improve that 133.8 to close the gap between him and his teammate. Ricky is now crossed the line into 16th on the mediums, a 132.4. As he's now on a cool down lap coming up on pit lane traffic.
So with 3 minutes left in the session, this is where we're going to start seeing all the drivers come out for their final runs.
Zamajo on a flyer now, looking to improve his already monster time of a 129.5 here.
Crosses
As he
the
makes
second
his way
split.
down past the
half a tank up.
Fanatec sign, and he's already improving.
Going to sector 3. Seems quite tidy so far. He misses the apex though. On turn 12. That might have cost him some time. Little Bear getting out of the way.
Very nice circuit awareness
up.
from Little Bear.
He improves by 0.2.
Very
121,
nice.
129.321. That is a blistering time.
Hard to catch a guy when you are Falcon and Vettel, when he just keeps getting quicker on the timing board. Falcon and Vettel both on outlaps at the moment. Vettel going to be looking to improve his 130.8. I do believe the 130.8 was his first and only lap set here in the session so far. Fubar retiring the Mercedes in P7. Henry now retiring in the Williams, as we are a minute and 30 away from the end of this session, ahead of our 50%er in France.
Samus now also on a flyer, looking to improve on those medium tires. Just coming through onto the long back straight now as he opens up the DRS. Taking all of the curbing. My goodness. Car hopping around a little bit. Let's see, he's 0.2 up at the Sector 2 split. Let's just hope he can keep the lap together. There's now 45 seconds left in the session. Pretty much everybody is out on track at the current moment in time who is still remaining in the session. Sam is coming through the final corner now. Puts up with a hot lap. DRS open, across the line. He improves to 10th place. A 131.3. Solid time from the Alfa Romeo driver.
So he will join his teammate in the top 10.
And
Very
Falcon
nice to see
improves.
Undertaker jumping into that P4 position. Falcon into the 129s, a 129.9. Vettel going to be looking to counter, as he is the last of the top three drivers to come in on a flyer. Looking good.
Final corner now. Looks very clean so far. Let's see what the timings say. He improves, but not enough. He will stay third with a 1 minute 30.356. And the BTF, the last across the line, I believe.
Ooh.
Jumps all the way to fourth. The 131 flat.
If you're
milliseconds
BTFU right
faster.
now, you have got to be smiling in the cockpit of that Toro Rosso. He has got to be happy with that.
Yes, an amazing improvement. I believe Ricky Ciardo is the last one on a flyer at the moment. Everyone else has finished their final run. Let's see what Ricky Ciardo can put in. Currently 18th and last of the runners. Of course, Neon Reigns with that qualification ban after his incidents in Canada. We'll see what he can
Ooh.
do in the race.
Major lockups there for Ricky on this flyer.
And he doesn't improve. So that will be your grid order, ladies and gentlemen.
We'll go through the grid in just a moment for everybody watching, so we have a good idea of how things are going to shape up come race start. So it's Zamajo in the Ferrari on pole position. Lining up next to him, it's Falcon in the Renault. Second row is Vettel and BTFU. Third row, Undertaker and Little Bear. Pikachu and Wadis, 7th and 8th respectively. Fubar in 9th. Spawny Star in 10th. Samus gets pushed back to 11th. And Custom is in 12th. Sneaky and Henry, 13th and 14th. Skybits, 15th. Rackety in 16th. Yoda, 17th. Ricky Ciardo, unfortunately, 18th after qualifying. And Neon Rays.
Watching the Misfits Racing League MRL Season 2, Round 3 at Paul Ricard. And you are just about to join us as we start to get this race underway.
If you're new to the Twitch channel, be sure to smash that follow button. We are live every Thursday at 5 o'clock p.m. CST, 6 o'clock Eastern, for Misfits Racing League action. And as we previously announced, we have added another 7 races to the calendar. So, save today, we have 15 more weeks of racing action to go. Lots of fun Formula One action coming. And of course, you can check out our YouTube link down below for the VODs and highlights.
Among other things.
Among many other great things. Yes, lots of fun things over there. Hopefully we aren't seeing another issue here in France as we look to get the grid going again.
I mean, you never know. It's a Cody's game.
We do have a session start timer in the top right-hand corner of the screen. 20 seconds now, counting down.
Believe Skybits is just ready to go. Doesn't need strategy. Doesn't need a setup.
Either that, or I was just going to say either that or he completely whiffed on a setup, as per the usual.
It's very important since the lobby did restart. These drivers do have to remember to load their setups and get their strategies in order.
Of course, we always like to avoid restarts at all costs, but unfortunately, due to the Codemasters coding, we are having to do these restarts. So all these drivers now out on the formation lap will go down the grid once again. We have Zamajo and Falcon on the front row. Vettel and BTFU line up second. Undertaker and Little Bear line up third. Pikachu and Wadis on the fourth row. Fubar and Spawny Star on the fifth row, and they make up the top 10 drivers here on the grid today. Samus not having the qualifying he wanted to have here on one of his favorite circuits. He starts in 11th with Custom, just behind him in 12th. Sneaky and Henry 13th and 14th respectively, with Skybits in the Haas in 15th. Rackety and Yoda 16th and 17th respectively, and then we have Ricky Ciardo in 18th, with Neon Rays at the back of the grid in the Williams after he took an unfortunate qualification ban following round 2.
Yeah, it is going to definitely be interesting seeing all the different tire strategies that these drivers have employed. All really depends on when that rain decides to hit. I'm looking forward to this race immensely. You cannot imagine.
I am also quite excited, as we are going to have that dynamic weather change mid-race. It's going to be very exciting to see what kind of strategies we see play out here. Of course, there is always that unpredictable factor of a safety car throughout the race as well, throwing a wrench into everybody's strategies. So we'll have to see how these first opening laps play out here. Of course, if you are driving in this race and happen to have us open in your other tab, just a friendly reminder, the race is not won in turn 1, lap 1.
Yeah, especially with all the weather shenanigans that can occur later throughout the race. There's plenty of opportunities, both to take advantage of other people's mistakes, but also to make many mistakes of your own. Seeing just the tail end of the grid start to form up. And we will be underway. So take us through the start. 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go. Zamaja looking to get a pretty mediocre start off that line. He's already getting under attack from Vettel and from Falcon as they all make their way down into turn 1. Most of the drivers seem to keep it pretty clean. Zamaja has gone back in front of Vettel.
That is the Mercedes of Custom.
Custom falling back. So we have a little bit of a turn 1 incident. Lots of bunching up, especially towards the tail end of the midfield.
Very good for Custom. He's going to be able to catch up to that big bunch up in the back now as these drivers have all started to space themselves out. That's Yoda currently on the rear of Skybits in Sector 2. He's making a move around the inside of Skybits down into, I do believe this is turn 8 and 9. Yoda with a very nice move here on the opening lap to get out in front of the Haas driver, Skybits.
And Rackety's attacking him as well.
Falcon and Zamajo battling here at the front of the grid, going wheel to wheel down into Sector 3 just a moment ago.
Oh, Vettel's getting in on the action. Side by side with Falcon as well. Zamajo gets through. So Falcon's struggling to get those medium tires up to temperature, it seems.
And I think we're going to have a serious battle throughout this race between the Toro Rosso of BTFU, Vettel, and that Renault of Falcon 9. Zamajo in the Ferrari, he's starting to get a little bit further ahead now as he's made up almost a second of a gap between him and the second place driver, Falcon. Undertaker has fallen into P7 here. I do believe he started in P5. But the Toro Rossos are having a fantastic drive so far here on the second lap of this race, up into 4th and 5th.
Yeah, especially good for Waiters, trying to impress at his home race.
Sneaky in the Red Bull now, very close to the rear of Samus as we move through into Sector 2. Samus has moved up a position into 10th.
Fubar's very close to the back of Pikachu as well. He's put it up into overtake. I think he's going to have a go, get in the toe.
On board with Fubar now. He's looking down that inside.
Oh, is he going to go for it? I don't think he's close enough.
Very patient, the Mercedes of Fubar. Henry and Sneaky having a go now. Sneaky dropping into 12th. Henry has made a move up into 11th in the Williams. He is on the faster compound tire. Henry looking to charge here.
And Ricky Sciotto gets past Skybits as well.
So a lot of these different tire strategies playing a significant role here in the race as Fubar looks to maintain a close position on the McLaren of Pikachu. Pikachu on the rear of Undertaker, trying to make up some time as well.
Moving it back to the front of the grid. Vettel is very, very close to the back of that Renault.
Sneaky and Henry right now are also trading places. Once again, you can see a switchback had happened as we move down into lap 3.
Fubar side by side, and the rain is already come.
Ooh, and you can see Pikachu there. Ooh, a little bit of tap from Fubar. He got his wheel caught in the well there of the rear of that Mercedes, so he's dropped down into 10th now. Henry looking to strike soon, I imagine. Samus sneaking into 9th position after that contact between Fubar and Pikachu in the McLaren. Samus on the medium compound tire. Not going to be happy about the raindrops falling right now.
That is very, very early. Oh, Vettel side by side with Falcon into turn 8. There's still wheel to wheel through turn 9. Who's going to get the better exit?
Vettel fighting very, very hard with the Renault of Falcon. Falcon doing a very good job on those medium compound tires to keep Vettel at bay, but Vettel keeps striking, and eventually he is going to get that move done.
Meanwhile, Zamajo has just run away with this. My goodness.
Zamajo now 4 seconds into the lead in first position. in the Ferrari. Vettel,
Fubar and Samus side by side. Oh, Samus tries to go around the outside. But Fubar clipping that apex does manage to get in front of the Alfa Romeo driver. Jeez, I can't speak. It's just too exciting.
Samus and Fubar on the same tire compound.
Oh, it's a
Ooh!
tap! It's a tap!
Very, very,
It's like a
very
tough
large
one.
issue there for Samus and Fubar, as Fubar not too sure what happened there with his braking, as we have a
And a
VSC
virtual
come out
safety
now.
car.
Very unfortunate for the Alpha driver of Samus. Not too sure what to say about that. The stewards may have to have a look post-race as to what caused that accident between Samus and Fubar. Fubar, unfortunately, went into the wall there. He's missing a very large portion of his wing.
Pikachu just got the run on Henry
VSC
on the
is
VSC
gone.
restart.
Pikachu doing a very good job to sneak in a position there. Henry in 9th. His teammate Neon Rays also looking to score some points here in 10th.
Spawn Star very close to the back.
Ooh.
Yoda.
Yoda takes a 5-second penalty after cutting a corner and gaining a place. Not what he's not going to be happy about that.
Oh, Spawn Star is very, very close to the back of Waiters. The battle for 5th place. Looks like the weather is definitely starting to affect these drivers. So rain just keeps getting heavier and heavier.
See if anybody decides to jump into the pits here other than Fubar. Henry saying, I'm making a good call here. I'm going into the pits first. Neon Rays, his teammate behind him. No! Neon Rays and Henry into the pits at the same time. This could be a very, very bad move here. It depends on whether or not Henry needs a wing change, and it looks like he might. Henry into the pits now. He's onto the inters. No wing change for him. Neon Rays now is going to get some new tires on. He's jumping onto inters. And he's going to get a wing change.
Well.
Fubar coming in for a new wing. Custom getting caught in the mess. Very, very interesting
back on
here.
Track, Spawny Star going for a move on BTFU. They both have DRS. It's going to be a drag race into turn 8. Spawn Star later on the brakes, and it looks like he has gotten the move done. So he is now up into the 4th position on those medium tires.
BTFU and Wade is 5th and 6th right now on those soft tires for Toro Rosso. We'll have to see which one of them decides to go in first. It could either be Wadis or BTFU. What would you do if you're in that position running 5 and 6 for pit strategy?
It'd definitely have to be the driver in front. Surely it'd be the driver in front.
Get the driver in front in first. Of course, Wadis and BTFU, hopefully they are in constant communication.
Oh, Undertaker's gone off.
Undertaker going wide there. Rackety
He's really
making up a
struggling,
large
so
amount of time here now in 9th.
Spawny Star has pit, but Samajo's staying out.
So Spawny Star into the pits now. Falcon, Vettel, BTFU all staying out. Wade is staying out as well as they look to try to get ahead. Little Bear taking a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Very important here, as we discussed before the race. You got to watch that pit entry. As you can see, Undertaker into the pits now as well after that spin. He's looking to get those intermediate tires on. 7 out of the 19 drivers have changed onto the intermediate compound tires here. Only 6 laps into the race.
DRS is still enabled though, so it still might not be wet enough. So half the grid going for this gamble. Play from 12th onwards at the moment. We'll see how much time they gain or lose due to this gamble. But Rackety and the 2 Red Bulls very, very close. I'll say Sneaky is catching up to his teammate.
Those the Red Bulls of Ricky Ciardo and Sneaky on an absolute mission here in France.
Zamajo's still not pitting. He's opting to go another lap on those soft
Zamajo
compound
very
tires.
comfortable on those softs for sure. As Falcon and Vettel both into the pits now, switching on to what I would think to be the intermediates. Pikachu has taken a penalty for cutting a corner, perhaps, and he's now gotten a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So not good for him, racking up all of those penalties. Should we see a safety car, that could be very, very bad for him. Now Ricky Ciardo has decided to stay out. His teammate Sneaky into the pits first here, it would seem.
Is it just me, or is that rain getting a bit heavier ever so slightly?
I'm not too sure what to expect for rain here. I think it depends on which area of the circuit we're in right now. Coming down into turn 6 and 5, it doesn't seem too wet. As I say that, Ricky has a little bit out of a slide here. Waitis and BTFU could be on for a very, very good finish here, as they are currently running in tandem, second and third. Only 2/10 separating the two Toro Rosso drivers.
Surely one of them has to pit now.
One of these guys needs to come in. I don't know if they're in the comms or not, but they need to make a decision before it starts to affect their race, with Ricky Ciardo gaining on them on those mediums.
Skybits 2/10 behind Undertaker. DRS.
He's made a move down the inside.
Zamajo has decided to pit and gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So he is calling it there. DRS disabled now. So which Toro Rosso will be going in? Looks like Waitis has gotten pit preference. So BTFU is going to have to do a whole nother lap on those slick tires where it's way too wet for them.
If you are on board with us now, turn 11, you can see that BTFU is not going to be enjoying those soft compound tires. Yes, he is in the race lead, but he's going to have to keep things very, very neat and tidy. He cannot miss a beat on those soft compound tires. 7 laps old now, moving on to lap 8. He is going to have to keep it very clean through this lap now, as he is the only driver remaining on the soft compounds.
Oh, Waitis side by side with Spotty. Oh,
Skybits still on the rear of Undertaker. We're going to jump on over to Waitis and Spawny.
Oh, Waitis getting a bit squirmy there.
Was that Waitis coming out in 6th place with Spawny?
Yes, that was. Spawny was right alongside him on the pit exit.
Sneaky gets ahead of Rackety here, moving down into turn 4. Rackety in the Ferrari, and Sneaky looking to have a battle here.
As the weather starts to set in, it's going to become much more difficult to overtake, especially with that DRS being disabled. So that rear wing won't open up to get that little bit.
Rackety goes way wide here in that Ferrari. Pikachu in the McLaren, currently running in 10th position, is looking to make up a significant gap between him and the Ferrari ahead. He is currently 2.2 seconds behind. Zamajo, currently less than half. He's right on the rear of BTFU on those intermediate tires now. BTFU deciding, I've got better priorities in mind. I need to get into the pits. I understand you're on those intermediums. BTFU going to have to do a very good job here not to overrun. Oh, and he does. He takes the 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Very hard to get that car under control there in these slick conditions. So he is the last of the drivers in this race to jump into the pits for the intermediate compound tires, as Zamajo now back into lead of this race. Falcon gets a position on BTFU, as does Vettel and Spawny Star. Waitis, his teammate. Where is BTFU? He should be coming out any moment here. Is he going to be ahead of Ricky Ciardo? It's going to be tight. Ricky Ciardo gets ahead of BTFU, and Sneaky now coming down the pit lane as well. He is going to be very close to BTFU.
Meanwhile, there is a massive battle for 10th place, as Skybits and Pikachu going side by side. Pikachu pick up a warning for track limits again.
BTFU is going to be looking to take 6th away from Ricky Ciardo in a very short moment. Ricky now in that Red Bull between the 2 Toro Rosso drivers. As
you
we're
can
on
see on
board
your
with
screen,
Pikachu.
ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, as you can see on your screen, ladies and gentlemen, it is very, very hard for these drivers to see where they are going. BTFU goes for the move though on Ricky Ciardo. I think he makes it stick. Oh, he defends the position very well. Ricky has to lift at the exit of turn 9, but he still seems to get the better exit. But BTFU will hold that position for now, it seems.
A big lunge from the Toro Rosso driver there as he moves quite far ahead of the Red Bull. But looks like Ricky trying to make a comeback here. Both of these drivers being very, very easy on the throttle through these turns, trying not to slip and lose the rear of the car. BTFU, of course, not quite up to the same tire temperature as Ricky at the moment, having just come out the pits. This is his out lap. Ricky sticking with BTFU very well here through this last sector. Could we see a run from him down the pit straight? Let's see how the exit was. A little bit of a lockup there.
I don't think he's going to be close enough. He just doesn't have the straight line speed. So BTF obviously running a lot less wing, but he does go a little bit wide at turn 1.
Jumping back on board with Pikachu. It looks like he has come a little bit further behind.
Ricky.
Oh,
Ricky backs out of it.
I'm on board with Ricky now.
The corner, though.
What a great battle between the Toro Rosso and Red Bull.
Meanwhile, at the front of the grid as well, Spawny Star looks like he's going to go for a move on Vettel as well. He's looking to go on the outside of turn 8. Vettel defends very, very well. I believe the Renault drive with nowhere to go. As Custom has had a little bit of a moment in Sector 3. Picks up a 10-second time penalty.
Wheel to wheel now. Ooh, Spawny and Vettel wheel to wheel here. Looks like Spawny got the move done. Look at him go in the Renault. Spawny Star joining his teammate Falcon on the podiums.
Great bravery. That takes so much bravery, especially in the wet, and so much trust in the other driver. Great move by the Renault driver, and great racing from those two particularly. Jump further down in the grid. Pikachu still hanging on to the back of Skybits. Pikachu right on the rear wing, that gearbox.
Pikachu
as well of Skybits on the other house. Looking to get a good exit here. He has it up in overtake. Is the toe going to be enough? He gets the exit he needs. He's very, very close. He's looking to go for it on the inside of turn 1. Oh, they're still wheel to wheel. They avoid contact, but it looks like Skybits. Oh, it's a bit of a nudge at turn 2. They're still side by side. It looks like Skybits
holy turn 4. Pikachu losing a little bit of traction there as he went off onto the curbing on the inside of the turn. Little Bear in the Racing Point is looking to catch these two as well.
It's a little bit of a slip as well.
Look at Little Bear. He has caught right up to these two, as has Henry.
Pikachu side by side with Skybits heading down the back straight. It's going to be a drag race. Who's going to be more daring on the brakes? It looks like it's Skybits. He's trying to go for it.
Ooh, a little bit of a tap there.
All this battling has allowed Little Bear making it 3 wide. Oh my goodness. It's 3 wide.
It's going to be 4 wide in just a second. Henry in the Williams is joining the action as well.
No. Oh no. But they keep it clean somehow.
Skybits has lost out on that one. He is into 14th as we now look on board with him, watching this unfold in front of him. Pikachu 11th, Henry 12th, and Little Bear in 13th.
Yoda has the best view of this. Just jump back to Yoda.
Oh, and Yoda's in on the action as well here in 15th, the McLaren driver. Look at this train here in the rain. Lap 12 here in France.
Skybit's running a bit wide and gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. That's certainly not going to help his race time, but look, these 5 drivers all in a train. Oh my goodness. Skybit's literally pushing Little Bear through the last corner. He's looking on the outside. He's going wheel to wheel with the Racing Point. There's going to be more daring on the brakes. Skybits once again. Pikachu picking up another 3 seconds for track limits, and Skybits getting the move done on the Racing Point. Yoda is looking for any opportunity to pass these guys.
Yoda, you can tell, is being a little patient. He's keeping a very, very safe distance from what's going on in front of him here, barring any contact between these drivers in the battle for 10th place right now. Or sorry, 11th place.
Oh my goodness, this train. Doesn't look like anyone's close enough to make a dive as we have an incident. It looks like Samus has spun around. I do believe that is turn number 6. He does get going again. He has lost a whole heap of time to Neon Rays. Now 10 seconds behind.
Henry is still fighting for this 11th position here as we move down in Sector 3. It is turn 11. Pikachu currently fighting to keep 11th position away from this Williams driver. Pikachu falling behind the 10th place Undertaker at the moment. Henry looking to make it through this traffic and try and get himself back into the points.
And Yoda as well, still stuck in 15th, 3/10 behind Little Bear.
Henry,
for any opportunity to pass.
Very, very close to Pikachu now as we round the final corner here of the lap. Jumping on with Yoda. Moving down into turn 1. Is he going to make a move down the inside? No, he thinks better of it.
Oh, there's a bit of a wing, and that's Henry.
Henry's
been spun around.
Pikachu. Looks like there's been an issue between Pikachu and Henry now. The McLaren driver riding a lot of that curb. You can see Yoda moving ahead of his teammate now in 13th. Little Bear 12th. Skybits back into 11th. Wow, what a nice catch from Skybits there. He is now back into 11th. Very, very good for the Haas driver, as we just saw him in 14th position a few moments ago. These drivers all very, very tight here, moving through Sector 2. Little Bear in the Racing Point, looking to make a move perhaps as we come down into Sector 3 after the Sector 2 chicane. Yoda also looking to make a move.
Gets a bit of wheel spin on the exit, though. I don't think he's going to be close enough to challenge on this lap. He might have to wait just that little bit longer.
Look at the rain coming off the rear of those cars.
Meanwhile, at the tail end of the grid, looks like Fubar is going to have a little run on Samus. Down the second part of the back straight. I think he decides better of it. Decides to back out of that.
Still a long race ahead.
Only just crossing the halfway point now, and there's already been so much action. The two McLarens very, very close to each other.
As we go on board with Pikachu, and Custom is out. That is on Sector 2.
We see a safety car. It looks like he just spun or something.
No safety car deployed at the moment.
There's a VSC.
VSC is deployed. So, well, the VSC has been deployed here. Ooh, a little bit of a tap. I do believe that's Yoda on the rear of Little Bear, having to slow down very quick to reduce delta. We'll take a real quick look at the gap to leader. Fubar, currently running in 18th position, is 1 minute and 18 seconds off of the race leader Zamajo. Nobody in this Grand Prix has been lapped as of yet. Very important in the case that there is a full safety car. Stoppages are, wow, Pikachu having to go very wide there to avoid his teammate Yoda with the late braking from Pikachu there. Wow, that was crazy. But yes, stoppages. Everybody in the race thus far has stopped only one time as we are back to green flag racing here. It is Yoda and Little Bear wheel to wheel. Yoda getting a very good
Oh my
jump at the
goodness.
restart there. Very
So
good
Yoda
from
makes it up
Yoda.
to 12th.
And Yoda now
Pikachu
out in front of Little
same.
Bear is going to be on the hunt. Pikachu looking to make a move around the inside of Little Bear. Not quite getting enough of the racing point though. He falls behind, still in 14th position. Henry and Neon Rays in a moment. Could we see a move from Henry here, moving back into 15th?
Also like to note that in the battle for 5th place at the moment between both Toro Rossos and Red Bulls, Ricky Ciardo looking to get a move done on BTFU. He's coming through turn 6. Trying to get the traction down. Pikachu picks up another 3 seconds for multiple warnings.
Now, is it just me, or has the rain gotten more severe in this area of the circuit? Because I feel like I would
definitely
be
has
on
gotten
full
heavier.
wets.
It definitely has gotten heavier. I don't know if it's quite enough for the full wets just yet, but it definitely has gotten heavier.
One thing to note, fastest lap of the session is currently held by the race leader Zamajo in the Ferrari. A 1:33.701 is the
Yeah,
time.
I don't think we'll be seeing that beat, especially in these conditions.
Yeah, so Zamajo en route for a 26 points at the moment. He is currently 17 seconds ahead of second position here.
Looks like all the positions starting to stable out a little bit. We do still see those Red Bull cars very, very close to each other.
Keeping a close eye on Little Bear as well, as he looks to be
Ricky
very close
Ciardo.
to the rear of the McLaren driver Yoda. Ricky with a huge slide there, very, very close to hitting the rear of BTFU, of course. Both Waitis and BTFU have to be happy with those positions. It is a battle between the Red Bull constructors.
Someone's going to the pits. That's one of the...
That's Skybits in the Haas, and Pikachu in the McLaren now into the pits. He's taking
Pikachu with
another
another
5-second penalty.
He's got a lot of penalties now.
Henry.
And Henry.
Double. Is that another 5-second penalty for Henry as well, or no?
Yes, I do believe so.
BTFU very close to his teammate here, going down into turn 8.
And here's the thing, that Ricky Ciardo is still right on the back of BTF.
Yeah, it's a very good job from the Red Bulls here.
Any mistake from either Toro Rosso driver, and they're going to be losing a net position.
Rackety in the Ferrari currently running in 9th, 6 seconds behind the Red Bull action. Will be looking to make up that gap by the race end.
Henry and Samus opting for the full wet tires. So they definitely think that it is pouring down enough to warrant those full wets.
Judging by the amount of rain and spray we're seeing come off the rear of that Williams, could pay off here. Very good for the Williams and Alpha drivers. But at the same time, it could be a very, very big risk that may not pay off, as we have looks like a steam error from Pikachu there. Hopefully he's able to get back into the session, as he's
Sneaky now going on the full wets as well.
So it looks like the race engineer, that is Jeff, may have come over the radio advising these drivers to jump onto the full wet compound tires, as these drivers now starting to feel a little bit of wear on those intermediates as well. We're going to be looking to jump onto a different tire, and it looks like wets are the tire to go. But as I say that, Undertaker into the pits, he moves on to another set of intermediate compound tires. Little Bear into the pits as well, onto another set of intermediate compounds. So this is going to be very, very interesting.
There, but Ricky Ciardo is going for a move on Waitis. Side by side going into turn 8. They're still side by side. Oh, there's a little bit of a squeeze from Waitis. tries to hold it around the outside. Looks like Ricky Ciotto has gotten the move. Waitis a bit off track there, and the Red Bull has gotten through.
Very, very nice and tight from Ricky Ciarda. There was a little bit of a tap through turn 8 there, but they're getting it done here, moving down into Sector 3. Waitis currently less than a second behind Ricky. BTFU, though, 2 seconds ahead of Ricky, looking to catch up to Vettel by the end of this one. Vettel currently 9.9 away from third, and Falcon is into the pits. That puts Spawny Star up into second.
And he's opting for another set of intermediates. And Vettel as well, and Waitis.
So we'll have to monitor the time gains from Sneaky here on the rear of Yoda on those full wet tires, as well as the time between Henry and Pikachu, as Henry and Pikachu are both on 1 lap old wet compound tires. It is Pikachu on the inters, Henry on the full wets.
Waitis opting for the full wets as well.
Henry looks like he could be struggling here on the full wets here, as he looks like he's had a spin.
I did not see that. My bad.
Neon Rays in the
Neon
Williams.
Rays.
Oh, there's a big
tap.
hit. It's Sneaky. Sneaky has spun across the runoff area coming outside of turn 2. Not going to be happy about that is the Red Bull driver, and there's Undertaker taking a very easy position from Sneaky. Sneaky could be kicking himself being on those wet tires right now. Waitis, though, in the Toro Rosso, as he went into the pits, he comes out on the wets as well. What an exciting difference in strategy we are seeing here on lap 18.
Yeah, with 10 laps to go. Looks like Zamadra's in the pits as well, serving that 5 seconds for speeding earlier, and he's opting for the full wets as well.
Spawny Star into the pits.
There's a lot of confusion about what the right tire is to be on at the moment.
This is, you gotta love seeing this, don't you? Isn't this just something else? Getting to see all these different tire strategies, just the confusion.
With those wets. Skybet's easy move on the Red Bull. Going into Sector 3 as we have a yellow flag. That's one of the Toro Rossos. It's Waitis! Waitis has spun around. Lost all that momentum. Oh no.
Waitis on the wet tires as well. He could be feeling the conditions. Rackety in the Ferrari in on the wets now as well. Look at all of these drivers and the difference of tires that we're seeing throughout the grid at the moment. Rackety falls into 8th, 9th now as Neon Rays comes by, and Rackety is on his way out. Waitis and Rackety could be very close here on the release of the pits.
Sneaky's gone off again. Those wet tires are just cooked. And he's out. He has just crashed.
Sneaky. Looks like he was, he had some kind of spin there. I was on board with Sneaky when he did that. That's very unfortunate for him. No safety car deployed, though, as of yet.
Still, that is a pretty big incident.
Sneaky off in the runoff area now.
It looks like there's no safety car.
So no safety car from Sneaky, so that's very unfortunate for the Red Bull driver. Ricky, his teammate, however, having a much better race. Staying out on those intermediate compound tires has definitely paid off for him so far. Looks like he may come into the pits now as well, though. Is he going to go on the wet tires like his teammate? Very, very close there. Falcon very tight to, oh my God. We have Falcon into the pits now on the rear of Ricky as well. The rain is just coming down in the pit lane. Are we going on to full wets? Ricky Ciardo.
Ricky's gone on inters.
He has gone out on inters, Falcon out on wets. This is very, very interesting strategy at play right now. Rackety on the full wets, currently in 9th, looking to make up some time on the P8 Neon Rays in the Williams. Looks like Rackety.
Marjo's struggling on those wets. BTF is catching him. We might even see a pass for the lead at this point.
What a race so far. Look at the confusion that we have on this grid. Falcon on the wets is losing lots of time to Ricky Ciardo. Ricky on those fresh inters. That could have been one of the race-defining moments for him in that Red Bull here.
BTF's made a move for the lead. So we have the Toro Rosso in the lead of this race.
BTFU on the 11-lap old intermediates. What do you think those tires are looking like as for wear at the moment? Do you think he's going to need to stop again before the end of the race here, or do you think he may be able to stretch those to the end if he maintains a gap on Zamajo?
He'll probably have to pit again, although it's going to be...
Spawny Star currently in third position, 10 seconds behind the other two podium drivers. Moment of truth right here. BTFU coming around the corner. That is Samus taking a 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits on his way into the pits. Not too sure why we are seeing him pit. May have lost some front wing at some point in this campaign. We'll see if he switches on to intermediates or not, as BTFU is currently 2.1 seconds ahead of Zamajo. Zamajo is struggling on these wets for sure.
Skybit's down the inside of Wadis at turn 11. My goodness. He gets the move done.
When you go on board with these drivers here, it looks like the rain is just coming down. However, the intermediate tires are paying off major for those who switch to them. Ricky Ciardo currently 5.3 seconds ahead of Falcon. Remember, they came out of the pits at the same time. Yoda into the pits now for intermediate tires. Neon Rays into the pits. It looks like he's getting another set of, that's wet tires coming off of the Williams. So he isn't feeling the inters at all. He's jumping onto the wet tires here. And look at all of the differences here in tires. It's just fantastic as we see all the stops as well. Most of the drivers here have stopped twice, some of them 3 times. I gotta love the rain here when I'm not driving in it, I must say. It is making this quite interesting, as BTFU is currently 3.4 seconds ahead of our former race leader Zamajo. BTFU is in command of the French Grand Prix round 3.
Little bit around the outside, goes a little bit wide, but he gets the move done. These wet tire runners are really struggling at the moment.
As we see now, Wadis.
Skybit's side by side with Rackety at the chicane. Oh, Rackety holds it. Very good defending from Rackety there. Oh, it goes a bit wide though. Oh, very, very close racing. And Skybit's is going for the same move again. Up the inside at turn 11. They're side by side. Bit of contact. But looks like Rackety holds that position for now. But Skybits, he looks like he wants to go for the switchback. He is very, very close to the rear of that Ferrari.
This weather and rain, it's absolutely pouring here, as that's Rackety going into the pits. That's going to be Skybits going up into P8 now. Little Bear on his rear, currently only a second separating the two of those drivers. But it's Yoda currently on the intermediates, blazing by the Toro Rosso that is Wadis. Wadis on those wet tires, definitely going to be struggling here. Now keep in mind, I was just going to say the gap on Zamajo is absolutely stunning. BTFU on for a fantastic drive here.
It's going to be hard to make those intermediates last, but if he can do it.
But if you're BTFU right now and you move into the pits onto the fresh inters, and you're Zamajo thinking, man, I'm losing a lot of time on these wet tires, does Zamajo go into the pits here? Does he go into the pits? BTFU going into the pits now. Zamajo going to have to make a decision whether or not he wants to stay on the slow, wet tires. He is staying out. BTFU.
He's going to stay out. He's committed to it.
BTFU has some work to do now, as he is going into the pits for what I hope to be intermediate compound tires.
Surely after the gap he's pulled And he's going on wets.
Are you sure?
Those are wet tires.
No. No, we don't like to see it, but we, of course, can't be talking to the drivers right now. BTFU going on to the wets. They may know something we don't, though, Mikal. Maybe the rain's supposed to get very heavy by the end of the race here. Ricky Ciardo on the intermediate tires currently. Half a second separating him and the third position Renault of Spawny Star. Looks like he might get a run going through the sector 2 straight here. He's going very tight to the inside of that Renault. Look at the move from Ricky Ciardo in Red Bull. Very, very nicely done. As you can see, Spawny Star on those wet compound tires is falling very far behind here. But could we see another move? A switchback perhaps. He's looking inside, but he thinks better of it going down into turn 8. Ricky Ciardo now on a charge, as he is currently on 3-lap-old inters versus the 5-lap-old inters of Vettel. Ricky Ciardo is now up into a podium position here as Spawny Star is slowly starting to drop off. BTFU on the wet tires. Could they pay off for him? We shall see, as Falcon is also on wet tires. Going to be looking to catch up with the Toro Rosso driver. Undertaker on the inters, 5.2 seconds behind Falcon in P6. We have seen the intermediate tires so far here play out better than the full wet compound.
A little bear getting a run on Skybits. Battle for 8th place at the moment. He
backed out of it, but that is Yoda currently 2 seconds behind them on the fresher inter tires. He is absolutely flying, currently only a second and a half behind and gaining quickly. Little Bear, if he's going to make a move on Skybits here, he's going to have to get it done and dusted before Yoda shows up, or Yoda is just going to be rubbing his hands together waiting for the opportunity to take up the 8th position.
You can see now it is bucketing down here at Paul Ricard. So I think this is the crossover point. Because Vettel, that gap between Samajo and Vettel isn't really going down a lot, as Little Bear gets a godly exit out of the final corner. They're going wheel to wheel down the pit straight as we have a yellow flag in sector 3. That's Wadis again. Very unfortunate for him. As Little Bear around the outside.
Oh, and a big slide out from the rear of Skybits. He does a very good job to get it under control, though, but that's Yoda in the McLaren just storming down on him, making a move. Round the outside now, Skybits and Yoda down into turn 3. Yoda jumps into P9. Very, very, very nice and tight movement from the McLaren driver there, as he is now going to be hunting for that 8th position. Skybits.
Look down further down on the grid. Foodbar getting really, really close to the back of Wadis. Another battle to keep your eye out on.
Rackety also going to have a very good view of this battle moving forward. He is currently on 2-lap-old intermediate tires, gaining on the Mercedes and Toro Rosso drivers, and that's Fubar now making a look around the inside of Wadis as we move down.
Puts it up to overtake. He's going to go for it. He's gaining. Has it gained enough, though? He's
late on the brakes.
Side by side through turn 8, Wadis and Fubar being very, very respectful of each other. But it looks like Fubar has gotten the move done as Samajo gets another 3-second time penalty.
But don't wait to look. It's Rackety going 3 wide with them going down into turn 10.
Rackety backs out of it. Very smart. Don't want to risk it this late in the race.
Fubar and Wadis, though, are still wheel to wheel here. Wadis, though, dropping back a little bit. It looks like Fubar has made a very comfortable move into that 12th position. Rackety very, very close to the rear of the Toro Rosso driver here in 14th, looking to get that 13th position away from that Toro Rosso. This is just absolutely fantastic racing that we're seeing here in the back zone of the grid at the moment. Rackety takes a 5-second penalty after exceeding track limits there on the second last turn of this lap. Yoda currently very close to that racing point, Little Bear.
Just something to note, Samajo has a 3-second time penalty and Vettel has 1 warning.
Rackety making a move on Wadis now. Down into turn 3.
Ooh, it's very close.
Very, very close.
Yeah, as I was saying, for the lead of this race, Samajo has a 3-second time penalty, and Vettel only has 1 warning. As Samus is out.
Samus out of this race here with 3 laps remaining. Not too sure what happened to the Alfa Romeo driver.
I think he's just retired. But there's now 2 laps left, and the gap to Samajo is 4.8. So it definitely looks like those wet tires are starting to get into their own at the moment.
Yoda still fighting for that 8th position here.
I feel like he's been stuck behind this racing point for the entire race. Just can't seem to find a way past. So you get a good exit. A little bit of wheel spin from the McLaren. Little Bear just seems to get such a good exit on that final corner.
Pikachu and Henry battling at the back of the grid at the moment.
Battle for the wooden spoon. I do believe they are both a lap down, but still a great fight nonetheless.
All eyes on Yoda right now, though.
Undertaker picking up a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. Be interesting to see how that affects the race once it's all done and dusted.
No doubt, no doubt. 4/10 separating Yoda and the Racing Point. Little Bear going a little wide there. Yoda making a run. He is in overtake. He's going to send it down into turn 8. Ooh.
Little Bear goes there on the brake.
A little bit of a tap.
By side. Another little love tap. It's still side by side on the exit of turn 9. This is going to be a drag race down to turn 10.
Very hard racing from these two, the Racing Point and the McLaren.
And Yoda gets it done. A little bit thinking better of taking it side by side through turn 10, which can be very risky, especially in these conditions. We have seen it done though, this race. Meanwhile, Samajo has started the final lap of the race in the lead with a gap of 7.2 seconds to Vettel in second. Ricky Ciardo 2.3 behind as we have a yellow flag in sector 3. I do believe that is Skybits, who has spun around. Tries to get the car going again. Picks up a 3-second time penalty for his troubles. And gets another 5 seconds for cutting the corner. Meanwhile, Fubar as well.
Take a look at the position changes here. Ricky Ciardo is currently running in 3rd place on the final lap of this race with a 2-second gap between him and the drivers in 2nd and 4th. He started this race in 18th position and is currently running in the podium positions. Very nice drive from him, I must say, and he is under the weather today as well, so he's going to have to be feeling better after a race performance like that. Again, penalties could play a role here, so not everything is yet set in stone. Vettel, we know, does not have any penalties at the moment. Spawny Star, I do believe, does have a penalty, but I could be mistaken as we are rounding the final few turns here. Samajo coming across the line in that Ferrari. He takes the checkered flag. It's Samajo in first now. Vettel looking to finish here in 2nd position. Fubar in 12th is very close to the rear of Rackety, but it is Vettel crossing the line 2nd. Ricky Ciardo, congratulations to him. He has just secured a podium here. 3rd position for Red Bull. That is Ricky Ciardo. Very nice drive from him once again. Spawny Star 4th in the Renault. BTFU is in 5th in the Toro Rosso. Falcon now coming around the last corner here. He could be on for a very nice finish in 6th. He retires his car across the line. He must be exhausted after that drive. Undertaker now looking to cross 7th here. Yoda finishes the race, and he gets dropped back into 9th. Little Bear in 8th. Neon Rays coming across the line now. Where will he end up? He is in 10th for the moment. Rackety crossing that final corner.
Fubar right behind him.
Skybit's retiring at the end of this race, and that was Fubar jumping ahead of Rackety after penalties, as we'll take a quick look at how the grid finished off here for round 3 of the Misfits Racing League. What an absolute thriller of a race, Mikhail. You called it right off the hop when we found out it was going to be dynamic weather. Look at Zamajo. He is our race winner here in France. Vettel, the new kid on the block, comes in second position here in his first race for MRL. He is a new driver for the Haas team. Ricky Ciardo started 18th here on the grid in France, and he comes across the line third for Red Bull. Very, very nice drive from him. Spawny Star fourth, BTFU in fifth. He was in race lead earlier on, and unfortunately he switched on over to those wet tires, and that may have cost him a podium, but we will see. So he comes across fifth, Falcon sixth, Undertaker is in seventh, Little Bear is eighth, Yoda in ninth, and Neon Rays collecting another point for Williams there in 10th. Fubar comes across 11th, Wade is 12th, Rackety in 13th, Henry unfortunately not finishing how he would have liked in 14 for Williams. Pikachu in the McLaren, he has come 15th, and then we have Skybits, Samus, Sneaky, and Custom, all unable to finish the race here in France. Closing thoughts, Mikhail? How did you find that race overall?
Oh, that was probably one of the best races I've been able to commentate. That was just so close, so tight, so clean. There are a few incidents that I'm sure the stewards will look at, but it was a great race, especially seeing Ricky Ciardo make it all the way from 18th to take a podium. He's definitely my pick for driver of the day. I don't think anyone can really disagree with me on that one.
No doubt. He has to be the driver of the day. That was an absolutely superlative drive from the Brit, and if I was him, I'd be nothing short of ecstatic about that race finish. So that is going to conclude Misfits Season 2. Round number 3, it was the French Grand Prix, and wow, that was a fantastic race. I loved every minute of it. We got some fantastic overtaking action, some great weather-affected racing. If you all enjoyed that race or are only tuning in halfway through, it was an absolute scorcher from start to finish. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel for the full race VOD and commentary broadcast. Of course, if you're looking for more awesome Misfits Racing League action, be sure to hit up that follow button here on Twitch, and hit us up in the Discord as well. We are always looking for new friends, family, and drivers for the Misfits Racing League. Be sure to check that out as well. And of course, any support is greatly appreciated, and we will see you all next time. We're going to jump on over to Samus' stream and hit him up with a raid. I do believe he is still streaming, so we're going to head on over and do that.
Yeah, if you guys are still here, remember to tune in next week, same time, Thursday, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern, for round 4, which I do believe is the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg, Austria.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
looking forward to that one.
Austria going to be a very competitive race.
If it's anything like this race, you would be stupid not to check us out for that race.
Yeah, this has been an absolutely fun-filled evening of racing for sure, and Austria is never a race to disappoint, so definitely tune in for that again next week, same time, 5 o'clock p.m. CST, and we'll be putting updates on Twitter for that race as well.